Good evening, America, and thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Linda Farrow, and we've got quite a collection of stories for you this evening. We begin with the biggest political news story after the new year. Reports about what is now being called the storm of the Capitol have been circulating for months, along with pictures and videos of various participants and witnesses. We caught up with a professional photographer who had happened to be there on her day off.
Well, Ben, thanks for having me. Hold on. Wait, what did you just say? Peaceful protest. I was just there trying to take pictures and one of your peaceful protesters broke my arm. You know, you and your thousands of conservative viewers won't believe me when I say this, but do you want to know what was really peaceful? Every Black Lives Matter protest I've been to, until the police officers shot us with rubber bullets and tear gas for exercising our freedom of speech. No, don't do that. You're doing it again. This was not them using their freedom of speech. This was your people using their white privilege to their fullest extent. You know, in time we hate that which we often fear. And you hate us all because you fear our voice. But we are no longer staying silent. Therefore, don't you dare try to tell me that you've seen a Black Lives Matter protest where they were climbing the Capitol like monkeys. You've never seen them walking around with rifles like they were souvenirs. And I wonder why Ben Shapiro. Oh, that's right. Because if a black man or woman was sitting in Nancy Pelosi's office, they'd be dead. This was terrorism. And this shouldn't have happened to me or anybody else. And I know it wasn't the smartest idea going to the Capitol, but as a photographer, I want to experience the event. But Ben, riddle me this. As a matter of fact, I'll ask your viewers. If this was really a peaceful protest, then why did I get sprayed with pepper spray? My eyes are bloodshot, by the way. Why did 3 men feel the need to call me every slur in the book for taking pictures? Why can't you people understand that it wasn't peaceful? You know, it's sad because I came here knowing that we'd have different political views, but I actually thought that you'd listen. And I don't know why, because it's like one ear out the other with you people. Being behind the camera all my life, I let the pictures speak for themselves. But now I've spoken. Thank you for having me.
This next clip was captured during a rally. Women gathering together in solidarity to fight for their rights to control their reproductive health.
Welcome to our first annual abortion rights rally. I agree with all the signs you guys carried today. Our bodies, our choice. This is beautiful. We need to prevent the abortion law from being passed. We are working to prevent this bill from going into effect. But not only that, our ultimate goal is to expand women's access to reproductive health care. This means making sure that every woman has access to health care at every stage of their life. And it must be affordable and accessible to all. Alabama has passed a law that bans nearly all abortions, with no exceptions of rape or incest. This is unfair. We know what we are, but know not what we may be. These are our bodies, our choice. Trauma. The women who have gone through heavy trauma, depending on their circumstances, age, health, marital status, they choose what's best for them. And you can't blame them. Our bodies, our choice.
According to the Armed Conflict Location and Event data, between May 26th and August 22nd, over 7,750 demonstrations linked to the Black Lives Matter movement took place in over 2,400 locations across the country. We have collected a few moments from these demonstrations. These show allies speaking out. The first is a young lady speaking to a police officer.
This needs to stop. The unjust arrest, the racism, the killing, all of it. You, a police officer, do you think you're protecting people? Because I don't. You're hurting them. All those black people who have been killed for your mistakes. You want people to see a police officer and think I'm safe. They'll help me. But instead, they're probably wondering if they're going to live to see another day. all because of their skin color. If the color of someone's skin makes you automatically see them as a threat, then you shouldn't be someone with a weapon. You want me to trust you when I can't trust that you won't kill my family or friends? There is no reason why these people should be killed for your careless mistakes. If you really agree, then don't sit in silence expecting us to do the work. Make a change and take this sign. Show us we can trust you.
And finally, in this moving speech, where a young man addresses a crowd, extending the topic beyond Black Lives Matter to include all those who are oppressed, defranchised, and fighting for equal rights.
Why isn't everyone treated equal? If you prick us, do we not bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh? If you poison us, do we not die? I am tired of fighting for something that shouldn't have to be fought for. Centuries of oppression, systemic racism, homophobia, gender inequality, ageism, classism, xenophobia, religious persecution, ableism, and sizeism. People talk about religion, but choose to ignore what it means. Governments talk about justice, but fail to deliver justice. And leaders talk about liberty, but choose who gets to enjoy it. No two people are the same. This world is made up of difference, but everyone is equal. It's not good enough to say, I'm not part of the problem, I'm not doing anything wrong, or this doesn't affect me, why should I care? If you're not part of the problem, be part of the solution. If you're not doing anything wrong, do something right. And if you think this doesn't affect you, you're wrong. This affects all of us. If you're not fighting for change, you're supporting the status quo. Shakespeare mentioned these injustices centuries ago, and we still haven't fixed them. As an ally to every movement for social justice, I fight against injustice, and I invite you to be part of the change. Speak up with outrage when you witness injustice. No voice is too small or too young to make a difference.
Now, we turn to the troubles at our southern borders. We have all heard the stories about migrated families who are taken into custody by border control and then separated during the process. We follow now the story of a young woman who is appealing to the court her deportation has been finalized, and she has now not yet been reunited with her son, who could end up being left behind here in the United States.
Buenas tardes. Primero, quiero darle gracias al corte para ofrecerme esta oportunidad para hablar. No solo para mi caso, pero por otros que están sufriendo, que han sufrido. El 15 de agosto es un día que nunca olvidaré. Fue el momento en que sentí a mi hijo cerca por última vez. Antes que fue apartado por agentes de Border Control, asegurándome que le darían un baño. Después de lo que parecieron horas, me di cuenta que no iba a volver. Arrancar a una madre de su hijo. Destruyen sus vidas para siempre. Cuando separan a una madre de su hijo, les quitan su fuerza, sus esperanzas, sus sueños. Fuimos abusados verbalmente, físicamente,
y tratados como ganado, porque eso es lo que somos para ellos, animales. Porque daría mi mente, mi corazón, mi alma para ver a mi hijo otra vez. Así que por favor, déjame ver a mi hijo otra vez. Eso es todo lo que pido. Seguiré cualquier regla que me den, cualquier trabajo que me necesites te haga, cualquier cosa para encontrarlo a mi niño robado.
We move beyond our borders now, to Peru, where we discover another woman addressing the court. The outrage you see here is the product of a court case where the victim was assaulted and the predator allowed to go free.
48%. 48% of Peruvians are sexually assaulted in their lifetime. 20% are indigenous, and Peru consists of 49.1% of women. So just think about that for a second, Your Honor. Street harassment is at its all-time high, even though it is illegal. And in case you didn't know, Peru is in the top 5 of countries that is most dangerous for women to reside in. There are at least 900 registered cases of sexual abuse that the government knows of and lets the people know of. 1,423 women have gone missing in the year of 2020, and God knows where they are. But these are just numbers and statistics for the naked eye to see, for public to supposedly understand. However, when you are a part of these numbers and you are a part of these mere statistics, it is much more. So, Your Honor, when the lawyer of the defendant says to my traumatic experience, she likes having a social life,
it is as if you are condoning the ruthless sexual violence towards women, and that is unacceptable.
When judges throw out rape cases because the victim was allegedly wearing red undergarment is despicable. When you tell me I was asking for it because I dressed a little more revealing than I usually do, makes me feel outraged, horrified, disgusted that you think in this way. You want to know what happened that night, Your Honor? You wanted to know the fear that I went through as I walked home from a friend's house party. You want to know what went through my mind as I walked down the streets where the roads were dimly lit, where I knew someone was following, but in fear did not look back. I remembered my mom telling me from a young age, "Mi hija no puede salir sola. Siempre necesita ser supervisada y siempre, si decidiste venir a la casa temprano, por favor asegúrese de venir en grupos de 3 o 4 acompañados de ti. Usted sabe, solo en caso de que algo suceda y que tú no estés sola." Quiero que te diviertas, pero caminar sola por la noche no es bueno. That is what she told me. I was 10. Her wise words fled my mind until that moment. In that exact moment, I remembered my mother sitting me down and telling me, As a girl, I am targeted as weak. So, Your Honor, and lawyer of the defendant, do you know what it is like to fear being targeted? Because I do. And so do most women in Peru. So when I say that 48% of Peruvians are sexually assaulted in their lifetime, do not take it as some numbers or statistics, numbers that you can just easily ignore and put aside, because those simple numbers are human beings that are fearful that they can easily be taken advantage of one simple night while walking back home, not knowing of the horrors that will be happening in the next few steps. So please, don't take my trauma and my experience as she likes having a social life, because it is simple, not that.
Yes, looking back at 2020 has been difficult tonight, but it is important that we continue to be informed of what is going on in our country and the world. Mother Nature has not been the focus this evening, but in the last year we did numerous reports on environmental concerns, including the forest fires that ravaged California and Colorado. Finally, we have one final guest of our program tonight, someone who brings a message of hope. We go now to a young man who lost his brother to the wildfires. He was a firefighter and a hero.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me today. Actually, there's one thing I like to bring up to the audience at home watching. My brother, don't get me started. My brother, well, he was a peacemaker. Holding grudges was something he never really was fond of. He was too kind of a man, you see. Sometimes way too kind. But there was something he truly believed in, and that was forgive and forget. Something I always envied him about. And you know, after hearing all these stories of how these fires are affecting these firemen, and how it's affecting them to the point where they feel survivor's guilt, it honestly just hurts. I think we should forgive. I feel like we should forgive ourselves for thinking there's anyone to forgive in the first place. This wasn't anyone's fault. It was unpredictable. But we shouldn't let this haunt us for the rest of our lives. And for forgetting, well, we shouldn't forget. We shouldn't forget the fear, the stories we want to tell. Let this moment live as a vivid memory in the back of our heads. And honestly, after these couple of months of seeing our community quite literally torn apart, I think it's time now to get together and become one again and stop pointing fingers. I want to honor the life of my brother as a legacy, not as a tragedy, as he would have wanted. Let this moment go down in history as one where we remember how precious and how vulnerable life really is. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you for that beautiful sentiment. Well, America, that's our show for tonight. We ask that you all please stay. What is that? Am I hearing that?
I interrupt this world podcast to bring you an important message from the great beyond.
Do you hear that?
For as thou urgest justice, be assured thou shalt have justice more than thou desirest.
Say my name. You did this to me. Do you even have any remorse for what you did? You came into my house and killed me. Without second thought, just opened fire. Bullets flying through me, wondering, what did I do wrong? At that point, you stopped being police officers. You became cold-blooded murderers. The people meant to protect us were the ones killing us. You chose to be ignorant. You chose not to even check to see who it was. Even after what happened to me, you still think that shoot first and think later is the right thing to do? I see black people, black men, women, children, for God's sake, children, being arrested and killed for the color of their skin. You complain about being fired while I'm dead. You believe that you aren't guilty while I'm dead. You choose to plead your innocence, yet I'm dead. This isn't justice. If this was justice, you would own up to what you did. Say what you did was a mistake. You would have chose justice, equality. You would never forget, that my name is Breonna Taylor.
We ask that you please stay informed and stay safe, everyone. Good night.